You're watching Grassroots Resistance Collective, Texas grown, people powered, and unapologetically bold. We expose corruption, amplify real candidates, and give voters the truth the system tries to bury. No spin, no sellouts, just resistance. Let's get to work.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday, September 18th, 2025. I am with my co-host and colleague, Miss Chastity, and tonight we're actually joined with a special guest, Mike Swanson, who recently ran for U.S. Senate here in Texas. He stepped into the race to bring a fresh, people first perspective. And though he's since stepped aside to make room for James Talarico, his platform and values still remain powerful. Um, uh, Still remain a powerful example of what grassroots politics should look like. First of all, Mike, I wanted to say thanks for coming on, and I also wanted to say that what you did took guts, man. Just throwing your hat out there in the race. I commend you for that. But yeah, we just want to hear your perspective on how things went up until I guess when you had to politely bow out.
I guess politely is the operative word here.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, thank you very much for those kind of words. I appreciate it. It was a rough decision to have to make that decision, um, mainly because I had to face the reality that it would be a challenge to continue on with a race going against someone that has the popularity level, uh, that people of Texas are wanting to see right now. Um, and it really fell back to the main problem that we have with grassroots politics is getting the financial support, the people support behind you. And, a lot of the big problem that came with it was just waiting for him to make the decision.
Mm,
Um, and it really kind of put a huge block on my ability to progress along further than I wanted to because, I had people that were telling me, we're wanting to put our support behind James Talarico if he announces this, that, the other.
mm,
And it doesn't really fester any bad juju or bad feelings towards him for it. Like people can support who they want to support. But as a grassroots candidate, it made it extremely difficult to have to face that. And now, taking that he's announced already and he's running now, I saw the writing on the wall. It
mm-hmm.
was just something that, it's going to split the vote primarily, and it's going to give us a candidate that we might not want. So if I can do my part to at least step aside to give more room and more power for somebody that I think has a better chance than the alternative, I'm going to take it. So
Is there what was there any I guess policies that you think you didn't really see eye to eye with James Talarico, or are you all do y'all have pretty similar outlooks and views?
most of our platforms I feel are incredibly aligned. The biggest thing that I had a challenge with was his stance on taking corporate PAC money as a state representative. And I've heard about this a lot from other state representatives and state senators saying that it's a challenge to have to run these races, without having a financial backing. And there's, their constituencies, they may be in a poor constituency that's not able to support their candidacy. Um, and it's really just a double-edged sword because sure, they're having to take it solely to be able to campaign, to be able to get elected, but then they're still having that same problem we see on the national level where they're getting somewhat controlled or influenced by that money to keep that money flowing in. We can talk about that later on as part of a campaign finance reform topic.
Mm-hmm.
But that I feel like that was the biggest challenge because I had really I've running over my train of thought here, but his he had this statement that he put out, article, whatever it was, that essentially said why disarm ourselves from a game that the Republicans are going to continue to play
Mm-hmm.
until it changes.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like it's a fair point, but at the same time, you have to put in the question of what are your values as a person, as a candidate, and what kind of things are you wanting to show to your constituency that you're putting your trust in them and not in the people that are trying to separate us.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think principle people who are very principled would have a hard time with those types of decisions when it comes to, I guess, like being in those leadership roles. Because like you said, I couldn't imagine how hard it is to, have to be, just have to accept, like, dang, this is just the way the game is played. I do.
Yeah.
Let's. I kind of want to talk about your philosophy though, as far as your personal philosophy on certain policies. What would you like to I guess bring to Texas on in that aspect?
It's the same struggles that we're seeing across the country here. There's people that are having to go bankrupt just because they break their arm and have to go to the hospital. There's schools that are becoming underfunded. The Department of Education's gone under attack by the Trump administration. We're getting so far. We are barreling towards a climate emergency if we aren't already in
Yeah.
one. We have all these different policies that we have to be shouting from the rooftops about. And yet here we are with Republicans in power trying to make everything about a culture war or about what's the next tax break that we can give to our millionaire buddies. It's insane to me because we have all of these problems that we can't solve yet because we don't have the silly power of government that's being used against us. We have to get campaign finance reform, as I just stated. We have to have a campaign finance reform to get money out of politics so that representatives can actually focus on using the government for good and not for personal gain.
Yeah.
And that's just a shorthand part of it. Like, there's 1,000 different things that we have to, put out policy wise to get people interested in to fix our lives, our bottom lines, and give us a level of prosperity that's actually going to matter at the end of the day.
So do you think that in your experience as you were campaigning, do you think that in general most Texans in person are either so left and so right, or do you see, like, in my personal opinion, I see a lot of people that are kind of right in the middle, and they may say they are Republicans or that they are Democrats, but they really, their values seem to align right in this middle kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you saw more of that when you were campaigning, or do you think that you saw more of this like Republican versus Democrat narrative?
I think the Overton window on this is a really interesting play because a lot of it is pretty standard. If you look at how Texas compares to the rest of the country, um, I feel like we're still kind of center to center right on where Texas is and where a lot of people are, especially with where the state party is at right now. And especially here in Bear County, I feel like that Overton window is still solidly in the center and focusing right. Um, and it's really hard because you look at it and you look at the interpersonal politics that happen within the county parties as well, and you see that they're just trying to hold on to the same power that they've been holding on to for the past 70 or 80 years and running off the same playbook that they've been using for the past 70 or 80 years, and they're not wanting to change, they're not wanting to shift as left as they think they want to. And I'm hoping that's something that James is able to you know help push that window back towards the left a little bit for us. And I'm going to be doing my work as well to help do that here in Bear County as well. um, but it's really dead center to answer your question. I feel like we're all starting to congeal back towards the center, and obviously both sides of the spectrum are trying to pull it each and which way. um,
And that's kind of what I was getting at with like the constituents themselves, is because James Talarico is an extremely Christian, like an extremely Christian representative, but
yeah.
he's also a Democrat. And online, you'll hear people say you can't be a Democrat and a Christian, but I'm talking about real life people that we're talking
Hmm.
to. Most real life people that I talk to are very much in this kind of middle genre. Like they're not extremist either way, and they just kind of judge based off of morals and values. And if you actually sit and talk to them, like even if they seem to be very radical, online, like if they're reposting a lot of things that they supposedly agree with, when you sit and have
Hmm.
a conversation with them, they're actually very reasonable and generally middle aligned. And so I was just asking if that was something that you experienced as well.
Yeah, and I wish that I had more resources to have been able to actually go out and talk to people outside of the political realm, because a lot of the time that I've spent doing my campaign was being within political circles where people were actually focused on just that.
Just those things, yeah.
Um, and I didn't get a huge opportunity to actually get to talk to real people because the supplies, the resources, and the funding wasn't there for me to be able to do so. But for the ones that I did talk to, it seems greatly that a lot of people are wanting to focus on that change that we need, of having younger people in office, of having people more on the left side of the aisle get into office, to focus on bringing us back up, instead of just maintaining the status quo as it was.
Yeah. One of the things, the whole reason that we started Grassroots Resistance Collective, we all started over the SB3 campaign. We were just a bunch of people that were advocating or against SB3 in the cannabis industry. And you had mentioned in your questionnaire, if you guys are watching, every candidate that we interview gets the same exact questionnaire. We put it on our website. You can go and look at all of their answers. But you had said that you support full descheduling of cannabis. Why is that like an important issue to you specifically?
It, this is one of those fun ones where it's part of industries like alcohol that are getting into trying to force legislation to ban hemp, ban cannabis, ban THC3, ban cannabinoids. This last special session, when they were going through the bills to work on that regulation and that banning of hemp and cannabis, I went and testified about it, and in my testimony to the State Affairs Committee, I was essentially saying that not only are you going to be losing 100,000 jobs in the state of Texas by banning cannabis, you're going to be putting veterans out to dry. You're going to be screwing veterans over, because hemp is a medicinal use. Hemp has medicinal uses, and not just for veterans, but for the general public as well. And you can't solve your problems by drinking them away.
Yeah.
You can't, and surely you can't really solve your problems by smoking them away either. But it's a lot safer than using alcohol,
Right.
by every instance. I haven't heard of anybody ever overdosing on smoking weed. I've never heard of somebody crashing a car under the influence of cannabis. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah. Right.
But you have these negative influences out in the world, in the political sphere, that are pushing for the banning of it. And it doesn't make sense to me, because it's not as dangerous as crack. It's not as dangerous as methamphetamines. It's not as dangerous as heroin.
Right.
By any margin. So why is it still on Schedule 1? This was a huge problem because of Richard Nixon, because he wanted to criminalize Black communities, Hispanic communities. He wanted, we're 50 years past that. Why are we still dealing with this? It's the year 2025. It's time to deschedule everything to do with hemp, cannabis, and weed.
Right. And I don't think in these days they're not gonna deschedule it because of that same specific reason. Right. The reason that it's on there is the same reason that it's still there.
Exactly.
It's insane. I kind of want to go back to your campaign finance reform. We talk a lot about Citizens United, but it's I guess it's gonna have to take a constitutional amendment. So what does that look like? What does that look like to you? And how would you figure that out?
So the way that I've been trying to plan it out as a constitutional amendment is to strictly say that any entity that is incorporated under LLC, under incorporation, S Corp, anything like that, where it's considered a group of people or a business venture, it's written out explicitly that those organizations are not considered people and do not have the ability to donate into campaigns specifically. They have to be separate. If the employees of a corporation want to get together to create a PAC specifically for them to, garner their money together and support it, that's one thing. But for a corporation to be privately inserting money into campaign accounts by donation is a whole issue altogether. So it takes banning that specifically. The employee PACs is one thing, but taking money directly from the coffers of a business and putting it into a campaign account is where the problem lives.
Right.
So
Yeah, I just wish more people understood like the concept of Citizens United, and it's not even that hard of a concept to understand how corrupt it is and how like upside down it is for
Hmm.
for us. It completely almost takes just voters out of the situation. At some point, they just have way more money than we
At
do.
some point, at now,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
now and have
yeah,
been
for
forever.
sure.
Not to mention the other big problem is how the FEC sets up PACs as well, because we have super PACs
Yeah.
that where that money from corporations are going into that don't have any limitations on them, yet don't have any accountability records like we do for individual donations. So I'll put I'll put a pin in that to set so that we can come back to it in a second. The bare minimum amount of money to get your name recorded in the FEC database, $200 as an
Mhm.
individual before
Mhm.
your name is recorded and it's noted as itemized.
Right.
So you can donate, to your favorite candidate up to $200, and you don't have to worry about your name being in those records.
Mhm.
But for
$50 if it's cash.
yeah, that too. But for corporations that want to donate into a super PAC or create a super PAC, there's no accountability whatsoever.
Right.
Absolutely none. So they
Yeah.
can put in tens of thousands of millions to hundreds of millions of dollars into a super PAC that's listed as an independent expenditure
Hmm.
Mhm.
to create activities for or against a certain candidate that
Disguised as something else.
disguises something. There's a lot of subterfuge going on,
Yep.
a lot of cover-ups.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially just a whole constitutional amendment to destroy that part of the system, to
That
say
would
that it's not how to do it. You have to legislate it. You have to do a constitutional amendment to make it constitutionally legal. Yeah. You look like the FEC's legal status, like every regulation and law that's under the FEC Act is like when you open up a box and it's just a bunch of cables. And you're just
yes.
like,
That's
You're
like
exactly.
like,
I
you're like
don't know
all
what
of
this does,
this.
where it goes to, what that does, what that's RGA
Mm-hmm.
cable
Yep.
from 1976.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like how
Okay.
does it? Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's like and it seems like it's intentional. Obvious. I mean, it seems like everything that they do within this arena or whatever, it's all
Mm,
intentional and it's all set up to just either one make you want to give up or two just technically have you disqualified. From
Yeah.
trying to do something.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
oh yeah, and to also say this is that there's people out there, and I'm sure that y'all have experienced this as well when you've ever gotten into a Facebook argument. Is people give politicians way too much credit.
Yes, they put him up on a weird pedestal.
Yeah, they give them way too much credit because some of these people have gone to Ivy League schools. And
Some
you
of
look
them.
at the way some of them, and a lot of them have like come from trust funds or from
Hmm.
other rich parents or this, that,
They're
the
all
other.
nepo babies.
They're
Yeah.
nepo babies. Like you look at what they are and how they act like to the public, and you realize there's no way a Harvard trained lawyer actually believes this.
Hmm.
Pam
Mhm.
Bondi, there's no way that a
Hmm.
Harvard trained lawyer believes this.
Yeah.
But if they're getting paid enough money, they're willing to sell their soul out for the idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. And it's
And
like easy. It's easy to see too. It's quick, almost
Yeah.
instant.
And there's people that are just like, oh no, they would never do that. Yes, they would. Yes, they know what they're doing.
and we vote these politicians in based off of their um how what is popular they are. Kind of like
Yeah.
a popularity contest.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen this name? How many times have you seen the billboard? How many times have you seen the commercial? That's what all of the money comes from. That's where they spend all of this money at, or a large majority of this money. This is where this money gets spent. And this is why it's so hard for somebody like you to run in a grassroots campaign, because you don't have these billions of dollars to have this name recognition like they do.
Yeah.
And
Or
so
I'm not old enough and I haven't been in like an elected position before, so I haven't had the time to run and have these staff members to help put things on social media to get my name out there
That's such
and
a
to
crock of
build.
shit that you have to be
yeah,
like. You have to be brought up in that world to even participate in it. So you have to be
Yeah.
like born into the fucking club.
Right. And like I live in a tiny, like not a tiny town, but I live in a town just off of San Antonio that barely anybody that doesn't live here knows the name of.
Mhm.
Like unless you live in San Antonio, you don't know that Helotes exists.
Oh yeah.
Like I could go to Austin, Dallas, Houston, they'll be like, where? And I'll be like San Antonio. They're like, oh, okay. Uh, but it's like I could be on the Helotes City Council and it's not gonna mean anything because one, San Antonio is right there,
Yeah.
and two, nobody's ever heard of Helotes. So it's like I could put myself up to that, but unless I'm putting actual issues that people care about that we're facing here in this little city, it's not going to make a difference right now versus the effort that I've took, driving over 3,500 miles, visiting 11 counties within a month and a half
Yeah.
of like, I got a better reach doing that than I would have probably being on a small city council like this one.
Right. But people just need to understand, though, that like when you're voting for these people and you're not paying attention to anything more than the popularity of their name, you're not voting for people that are actually people like you that understand the problems that you have as a Texan. They're not understanding they don't have the same social equity that we have. People were raised most often as nepo babies. If you don't know what a nepo baby is, it's a nepotism baby. So a child that grows up utilizing the contacts of their parents to build their fame and wealth. And so a lot of these people grew up with these silver spoons in their mouths. They were just born into it, and then generally most often are pushed into it by their parents.
Right?
Exactly.
Sorry, caught my throat.
Exactly. But yeah, they're pushed into these political positions because it would benefit their parents, it benefits their parents' friends, it benefits people that they may know. And so you're supposed to be voting for somebody to represent you, and you think that that's what's actually happening, but it's not what is happening. So we really need to start engaging in this and paying more attention to this, because these people do not care. The people that are in these positions currently do not care, and it's from both sides. Like, we've got to be fair here. It is both sides. It is not just one side. Look at what happened with the Epstein files. How long did it take for all the Democrats to get onto these Epstein files? We still have Dems that have not signed off on the Epstein files, right? We have tons of Republicans. Most of the Republicans have not signed off on the Epstein files. These are both sides that are working against us. They're not representing you. So you have to be really attentive to who these people are. And when you're voting for them, you can't just vote based off of their names. You have to really look at the candidates that are on your ticket. And the best way to do that is to go print off not a fake ballot, a
sample
ballot.
Like
a voter guide.
Sample ballot.
Yeah.
Print off a sample ballot and see who's all going to be on your ballot, because we do have voting that's coming up in November, and then we'll have voting again in March. And then if we have any runoffs, we will have those at the end of March. And then our general election will be next November, but we do have one coming up in November. And there will be local positions like your city councils and things like that will be on there. Your House reps, some of your Senate reps will be on there. So make sure you print off a sample of your ballot and research who's going to be on that ballot and see who these people actually are before you're voting for them. It doesn't matter what side you're voting on. Just vote for people that are representing you.
So I was just gonna say the last day to register to vote is October 6th.
Yeah.
So if you're in San Antonio or in Bexar County, shoot me a message and I will go to you and I will get you registered to vote personally.
It's the best way to do it. I'm probably gonna look at trying to get registered as a VDR myself, quite honestly.
It's quick and easy.
Yeah,
it's really quick and easy.
Which to also Chastity's point about the whole conversation about the ballot itself is, I could not tell you how many times I tried to go the petition route. So U.S. Senate can do petitions, by the way. So you could either do 5,000 signatures at a bare minimum or pay $5,000 to get on a ballot. Luckily for Colin Allred and James Talarico, they've got the money to just pay the fee.
Yeah.
Me, I don't have $5,000, and I had a hard time trying to raise even $5,000 because of the entire political environment. Anyway, it seems almost understandable of why you'd have to reach 5,000 people on a ballot to get on the ballot. But it it still seems like a failing system almost, because like I feel like for a position that high, you should be able to talk to 5,000 people and get them convinced enough to sign your ballot for you.
Yeah.
I feel like the U.S. Senate and U.S. House reps should have to do just the ballot petitions if they want to run.
Yeah.
Like once you start getting into lower positions, if like city council, commissioners courts, you know, state house rep, state senate, sure, pay the fee, whatever it is, it's low enough, it's low barrier to entry. You get into the 3,100 ballot signatures or fee, or the $5,000 signatures or fee, and you start to lose the plot a little bit, because that means anybody with the kind of money behind them can just pay the fee and they don't have to talk to anybody to get on the ballot except their county or their state party chair or whatever. Not a good system to me. Like if it would have motivated me more if I only had to do signatures, because then I'd feel the fire under my ass to actually talk to people about it. Because it's so demoralizing and demotivating knowing that people like Colin Allred and James Talarico can easily just sign a $5,000 check and be on the ballot and be done with it.
Yeah.
Like I'm out here trying to talk to people and they're just like,
yeah.
I would rather have that though. Like I think that's a very admirable thing. I don't know who my reps are. My reps didn't come to my house. They didn't door knock. They didn't show up for town halls, even in the times that they have been representatives of where I live. They don't show up here. They don't know what's here. They don't talk to the people. They don't represent the people. How are you representing people that you don't even talk to? You won't even answer the phone calls. I just got an email today that was a reply email from something that I sent months ago to a representative, like months and months and months ago to a representative. And I just got an email today response, and it wasn't even an actual response. It was a generic, thanks for sending us an email. We care about what you said.
That sounds like a U.S. senator I know, maybe 2 U.S. senators I know. You're like, oh yeah, thanks for
do that. Yeah.
And it's so frustrating, because like if I had the time as a senator or state or a U.S. rep to be able to sit down and write out an actual response to, you know, like pick 10 every week and write a response to them, I would do it. Pick 25 a month and do it. Like, sure, I would make the time and carve that out to be able to actually give people an individualized response, so it actually makes a connection to be like, oh, he actually heard me. And it would almost be like a lottery, because it's like, okay, all these other people may have to get a canned response because I can't focus on it right now. But, you know, if someone comes to me and says, hey, I think healthcare in this country is broken. I think that we need to deschedule cannabis. I think we need to do this, that, the other. Great. Here's all my reasons why I agree with you and how I'm going to work to do it. Instead of, oh, I supported this act, I sponsored this act, I wrote this thing that has nothing to do with this, and these Fisherman's Act and this, and oh my God, John Cornyn.
I think that when we're talking about stuff like that, I called my representative every single solitary day. Those interns knew my voice when I was calling. They knew who I was, and we talked every single day. Those people that are calling and they're engaging, those are the people that you should, number one, be calling back. Those are the people that are
taking time out of the day.
Those are the people that are spreading the word about the atrocities that you are signing.
Those are the ones that are plotting.
Yeah. These are the big mouths. These are the ones that are going to run against you. They're going to pressure you.
For sure.
So those are the ones you need to make happy out of all of the people.
Because I had that thought as well too, is like being able to talk to your constituents that call in too. Like if I'm in the office and I'm standing there and I don't really have anything else going on in that moment, I'd be like, hey, let me take that phone call real quick. Hey, and give my intern a quick break. Go run to the restroom or something. I got the phones for like the 5 minutes you'll be gone.
Yeah.
Like we're losing the plot on what being a representative democracy is like, because, you know, sure, these people are busy once they get into the job, but then you're losing sight when you actually have to deal with the people that voted you in there in the first place, and the people
Exactly.
you're about to ask to vote you in a second time 2 years later, 6 years later, whatever term it is. It's fun because people just lost the plot entirely.
I mean,
It even trickles down to like at least with my experience right now, man, like trying to get a hold of my council person, even the
Mm,
mayor. I don't know if you know about the drama right now in San Antonio, but
yeah.
Jesus, man, it's crazy right now. It's
Yeah,
like I don't even think the mayor has a staff.
it-
Her phone call doesn't have it. Well, it didn't have a voicemail until like 2 days ago. I'm gonna start going to City Hall every day and writing up a request to meet her because
mm,
nobody answers their phones or can give me an answer on anything that I ask about. And it's just wild how like there's like who's leading this? Who's steering this boat, man?
yeah. No, I definitely feel you on that. Like, I'm not in the San Antonio part of Helotes. I'm just I'm under the Helotes jurisdiction, so there's nothing really going on with our city council anyway. But so I've been trying to focus on what's going on with the San Antonio City Council and what's going on with
Mhm.
Mayor Jones, and what is happening over there? What
They're
what?
not as soon as the mayor took over, City Hall kind of was just like they didn't appreciate her style of leadership. She
Yeah.
because I mean I don't know how well you knew Mayor Ron Nuremberg, but he was like I wouldn't say a flashy guy, but he focused on tourism a lot. His like whole
Mm,
thing, he redid the Alamo Plaza, and I think he helped a lot with that new Yanaguana Park by the
mm,
Hemisphere. And that's all nice and stuff, but I think they were so used to
like getting a yes man in
maybe
mayorship.
like I don't know, man. Maybe because that's a lot of money. If you look at
Mm,
if you go look downtown, that's a lot of money.
yeah.
So I don't know if like maybe they were promised something in the past leadership role, and then she came in because I know she wanted to just pretty much hold everybody accountable. With like
Yeah.
Project Marvel, for those who don't know, I know this is like boring San Antonio stuff, but we have the Spurs in San Antonio NBA team, and they're trying to get a new arena built. But we have the billionaire investors, and then we have the taxpayers, and the
Mm,
taxpayers have already seen multiple arenas and stadiums that have you know been
gone dilapidated.
built over the years and failed over the years, and we see it happening again here, and a lot of people are pissed off. And that's when the mayor, she was like, hold on, we need to get a third party surveyor to come in and see
Mm,
like if everything's gonna match up economically and if it's gonna actually do anything for the city, which city council doesn't want to do. So they're like, she's like, why the fuck wouldn't you want the numbers so we could show
yeah.
everybody that it's a good thing? And they don't want, I don't know. It just
And,
to me it sounds like there's backdoor deals going on in city council.
yeah. And it's funny because my hot take is I agree with Mayor Jones.
I do too.
It's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. I
I
do
want to
too.
know. I want to know what the economic impact is. I want to know what
Yep.
the environmental assessment is. I want to know what the future of San Antonio is going to have the impact
Absolutely.
of. Because what happened with the Frost Center is that we
Yes.
still have not, the city of San Antonio has not seen a dime of profit
Mm-mm.
from its agreement.
And nothing around it has even like
Has
flourished or
has grown.
anything.
Yeah,
It,
yeah, and that's that I will give Mayor Jones the credit for that,
mm-hmm.
being responsible in governance to make sure that that amount of money is not going to waste.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
so I don't know what, like, people have to understand. She came from a military background.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to have a stricter force of leadership
Yeah.
than what Ron Nuremberg did.
And it was kind of weird because like being like in the neighborhood meetings and stuff like that. Before, well, when we had the runoff with Jones and
And Rolando Pablos.
yes, Rondo Pablo's, it was pretty much a Democrat versus Republican race at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody at that time, I guess they put Gina Ortiz Jones in the Democratic position for some reason. And they all liked her, but now that she's in office, a lot of the people who were who liked her coming in, they don't like her now that she's actually there. And I think it's because she's holding everybody accountable, and people just weren't used to that, and they were just used to, hooking up all their buddies. It seems like.
Yeah, and I'll say that's something that I did kind of feel out a little bit dealing with the political insiders here in the county. It's a whole. I feel like that could be a whole nother podcast episode if it had
Yeah,
to be.
I mean, we could make it a whole different podcast if you want, man. I mean, I could go off on San Antonio politics on a totally different level, also.
Yeah, because I'm probably gonna catch a shit ton of hate for it, but like to me, it's almost like it's two-faced because
For sure.
they're here saying that they want to have all this change. They agree with James Talarico that we need to start flipping tables, that we need to do this, that, everything. And then they turn around and they're like, oh, but we don't want to lose the power that we've accumulated over the past.
They're like, wait, we made promises. Yeah.
We made promises to people.
Yep.
Or,
We owe somebody.
We owe somebody, or that's not the kind of people that we want in our party. I tried to get on one of those TikTok trends where like you're slightly off camera saying these things, and they're like, "Who said that?"
Yeah.
And it was essentially that message, because it's like you can't. Politics should not be a two-faced ordeal. Like you should know what the hell your representatives think of you.
Yeah.
And like,
and your constituents should know you as a representative.
Yeah, because like it's starting to get to the point where the waters are getting continually muddied, because government, it should be a non-biased, nonpartisan part of our lives. And here we are, we have politics that are coming into it. And, obviously we've seen it for the past, 7-8 months now with Trump in office, that if you bring partisanship into government, it muddies the waters, and they're using government as a tool to suppress opposition. Government has very strong power. It really does. And Republicans are wielding it against Democrats, against the left. And it's not good government. And we have, millions and millions and millions of people that are just in support of weaponizing the government against naysayers. That, like, this is literally the uprising of what was seen with World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Of why World War II existed in the first place.
Yeah, and it's not even like you don't even have to stretch it at all to make the comparison either, because it's like they're taking over the media. They took over the vice president was shooting a podcast from Charlie Kirk's platform. That's insane to me that the vice president did that. That's insane. Like, that's North Korea style, like straight up like communist type fucking shit that everyone's all afraid about.
Well, it's funny because did you see that the government took in a 10% share of Intel?
Oh, yes, fucking communism.
Is that not communism? They've nationalized 10% of a tech giant.
But nobody fucking says anything like that. Nobody's calling them fucking commies. They're literally MAGA commies. MAGA fucking commies exist.
They have steered so hard right that they've circled around to communism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're woke, and they're running cancel culture.
Yes. Like all of the negative things. I was a Republican for so many years, and then it was like, wait, that's not me. Wait, that's not me. And the more further we went on, the worse it got, where they just switched.
And then
like completely switched teams. It's insane. And then people don't realize that. Like, I remember the term snowflake when it came out. I remember when the term woke came out. I remember when cancel culture came out.
I remember when you had to bake the gay cake. Now you have to print the Kirk banner.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like, and like is this real life? Is this real life? It's so stressful.
And honestly, it's amazing to me, because I just watched the More Perfect Union put out a little mini doc on YouTube about Bernie Sanders going into West Virginia to talk with like all these Republicans.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
And it's almost kind of inspiring because
Mhm.
like that's what, like, sure, that's part of what we need to be doing to
Absolutely.
try to reel people back in, because a couple of the people, the West Virginians in that video, had said, they only knew what Bernie Sanders was like because of what the media was telling them.
And they only
Right.
knew what because of what like Trump said or some
Yeah,
Republican said. They never heard Bernie Sanders talk. They never
and
heard him
then
talk.
and then they go to meet him and they hear him talk and they think, oh shit, he talks like us.
Yeah.
And then they're buying his
He
shirts
knows
at
like
the end
us.
of it.
Yeah,
They're like rocking fucking Bernie Sanders gear. Like it's
she's like,
crazy.
it's like, did you expect to buy a Bernie Sanders shirt before the end of today? She's like, no.
She looked like embarrassed too. She was like, "Damn, he got me
She's
good.
like,
Like I came out here with a shirt."
But this is where we get back to the question that I asked you, like, are real people in real life this far right and this far left?
they're
Because
they're
I
just
just don't think that that's true.
they're consuming all
they're
this meat.
yeah,
They're
Yeah.
drinking the
yeah,
Kool-Aid.
yeah. And really, to the full point of your question, Chastity, is that if I had the resources and the funding to be able to make it out to all these smaller counties to actually talk with people and give them the chance to hear them out on why they feel abandoned, like, that's the biggest issue that I have with the Democratic Party, is that they're still focusing on the suburban Republicans and not the Democrats in rural counties.
Yeah.
Like, I saw this little media clip from that focused on Chuck Schumer. I think it was in that More Perfect Union video, actually, where he was saying, you could go to the Republican suburbs of New York City to pick up 2 or 3 Republicans for every Democrat in West Virginia. And I was like, you've lost the fucking plot. And that was only like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be like,
Like you're
if
still running that.
Republicans,
Yeah.
that same playbook. If you want to pick up Republicans, that's fine. Let them come over to this side on their own. But like, you shouldn't be abandoning the people that are on your side in all of these smaller areas that don't get the support, that don't get, any fixture. Like, that's why Beto did as well as he did in 2018, is because he went to all 254 counties in Texas. That was the complete goal that I was aiming for with this campaign, was to do that thing again, to
Yeah.
show them, hey, more than just one person in this state gives a fuck about you. Like, if I could have spent, the next 3 or 4 months out going from El Paso all the way here to Bexar County, and just in that window up to Midland, Odessa, down all the way to Del Rio, I'd do it. If I had all the time, the money, and the resources, I'd be doing that. Like, the Democratic Party especially is just not focusing on where they need to be to focus on getting people back, to inspire them to vote, to know that, we're not going to lose the Rio Grande Valley. Like, that's a battleground here for us in Texas, is the Rio Grande Valley. And if we're not focused on turning that back around, they're going to be gone forever. Like, especially considering with the redistricting scam that had been going on, that Representative Todd Hunter was like, oh, this map is completely based on voter participation. We're trying to get all the Republicans put into the districts where they all participate so the Republicans can continue to win. I love that he said the quiet part out loud every time he opened his mouth.
A lot of them did. A lot of them did.
Yeah.
Which means that they were unashamed about what they were trying to push.
Exactly. 100%.
That's why I was so fucking pissed off, man. Whenever I went in there, like, I totally, like, I had a script and I was all cool until I got in there. I was just so fucking pissed off. Like, dude, like, you're not listening to fucking anybody, and they don't give a and they're just up there so fake. So fake. It's yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating seeing them up there.
Because, like, especially if they're going the voter participation route, are they going to go back at the next regular session to redraw the maps again if the Democrats win 2026?
It doesn't matter. Partisan gerrymandering is just as illegal as racial gerrymandering.
Yeah.
They're both wrong. And for all of these reps to sit there and blatantly say that we are partisan gerrymandering, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're drawing these maps based off of partisanship. We're not drawing them off of racial lines. We're doing it off of partisan lines. You cannot do that either. They're both illegal.
Right.
Both illegal.
Right.
And
it's funny to me that, like, especially for that letter that came from the assistant district attorney, U.S. attorney in D.C. or whatever, the fall the fall person for that,
Mhm.
writing that letter, to essentially call out that, hey, you know, the 2021 maps are illegal gerrymandering and you need to fix it. Okay, so let's take the problem that it is and make it worse. Huh?
Or I still don't understand how the state is getting away with redistricting because of those maps being illegal gerrymandering when they've already been to court and won 2 court cases, testified on both of those court cases, which mean the state has perjured themselves in the courts, and they're getting away with it. I don't understand how that happens. We're just basically saying, yes, we perjured ourselves, so we're going to redraw these maps because Trump says that we have to, based on partisanship, and break the law some more.
Yeah.
And we're just openly doing this. And like, it's like, who's holding the handcuffs here? Is there like anybody taking responsibility for this?
And that's a huge issue with the partisanship going. Like, sure, there's some partisanship that goes on with being a judge, and you know, there's a whole ass doctrine that they figured out because of a redistricting problem that was from like the early 1900s in Tennessee. That one dude literally was like, one of the Supreme Court justices that handled that case. I don't remember what case it was specifically, but it was a Tennessee case. He was so stressed out about which side to affirm or dissent on. He was like, I'm gonna go to the mountains for a month. And then he came back and resigned, and it was that serious. And it was like, I wish that, you know, even the Supreme Court justices had that moral clarity to be like, this is a difficult fucking decision. But so many of them, like Amy Coney Barrett just came out like a couple weeks ago and he was like saying like, oh, Donald Trump doesn't control me, I'm my own woman, like I make decisions based on what I think the law says. And it's like, you can't argue that you don't have a partisan bias. That, like, it's not like Ketanji Brown Jackson is going completely insane with being the most liberal woman on the entire court right now, because she's not. She's actually upholding the duties of a Supreme Court justice versus the other 5 that can't seem to get their heads out of their ass. Yeah. And that's, you know, we're also here in Texas, the Fifth Circuit Court is the most conservative circuit in the entire country. So if it doesn't get out of Texas, you know, it's not going to get out of this Fifth Circuit. It's not going to get up to the Supreme Court, where it's also going to get, you know, passed back down to the Fifth Circuit's decision. Which I had a whole plan about how to fix the Supreme Court too, if we want to get into that.
We can get into whatever you want to get into. Say
fantastic. I would love to give this idea out to the people. Okay, so expand the Supreme Court. Take it from 9 seats to 13. Okay. 12 circuit courts, 1 DC court. Every Supreme Court justice works like a representative does in Congress. Each circuit gets a representative on the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So, for the Supreme Court justices you have on there right now, I think would take up, I think there's only like 2 seats that would be in conflict, and I don't know offhand which ones they are. Two Supreme Court justices would be in conflict of who gets to represent the district, so they would get to be on a wild card for whatever other empty court can't be filled. So every seat gets a district to represent, a circuit to represent, and the way you determine who slots into what is based on what circuit court they worked on prior to becoming a Supreme Court justice, or if that doesn't apply, what circuit they were born in, where they grew up in, so that not only do you have people that have worked in that circuit court division, know what cases come up in those areas, you have people that have lived there, that know what it's like, that know the regional problems, that know everything, so that they can all represent those areas of the country, versus having all these DC judges that have been from one specific circuit court based on whoever the president is wanting to pick the most conservative people.
Right.
If you can find the most if Donald Trump can find the most conservative judge from the 9th Circuit in California, good for him. But, you know, he's going to have to work at it under the plan that I would love to have put up. So,
yeah, the selection process.
To me, there should be no, I mean, it should all be represented in that way. I
should all get
your
elected.
representatives are represented in that way. Like if you run for something, you have to live in that district. You have
Mhm.
to have, grown up and served in that district no matter what. I don't know why you wouldn't have to do that for any higher class positions.
Yeah, and I think that's something that could definitely expand with my idea as well. Is if we get rid of the nomination process and the Senate confirmation, then make it an elected position, and you have to be from your circuit court to do it, and
I
you
think
have
that's a good idea.
and you have to have a lawyer's license or have worked in a judgeship before, which also requires a lawyer's license. But that would go leagues and leagues better than what we have right now. So
I agree.
Yeah, the Supreme Court is definitely weird. Just the selection process, and then the way that it's just a lifetime sentence, pretty much. You
it
know,
might as well be.
like yeah, the Supreme Court's a little weird. I mean, I get it, but then you run into shit like this where you could pack it with with uh with bias, with
Mhm.
with you know biased judges.
Yeah, and if we went the election route, it would hopefully have to be after the campaign finance reform has taken place, because then it'd probably just accelerate into extremism.
Damn. Yeah.
So it feels like that would kind of need to go hand in hand. Is if we're able to overturn Citizens United at the same time to expand the Supreme Court to do elections, they would have to happen at the same time, or one after or elections after overturning. But under the system we are right now, if we can get a constitutional amendment to expand the Supreme Court, keep the nomination process, force the president to have to pick judges from their circuit courts to fill the seats. So
I'm all for just letting them just dismantling it all and start it all over again.
that would be good.
Just get rid of all of it and let's start all over.
I was thinking also a game of musical chairs.
Right?
Get your short. The president gets a short list. The president gives out the short list. They all meet up in a high school gymnasium to play musical chairs. Or dodgeball. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
I mean, I don't know. JD Vance can do some really great pull-ups.
Yeah, him, Pete
He's one of
Hegseth.
them presidential workout kids.
Damn.
Insane.
So we're pretty close to the end of our time, but there's something that we do with every episode where we have you leave a question for the next guest. So the last question was from Johnny Lee Hammett, and he wanted to know what was the wildest antic that you did as a kid.
I was a bit of a troublemaker when I was a toddler. Like some of the pictures that my parents kept as me as a toddler was like me crawling under furniture. I had this weird thing for furniture, and like most of it was crawling under it. I had one night where I was just extremely energetic for whatever reason, so I was running around the house, as toddlers who can run do, and I ended up slamming my head into the back of back of the couch, and I have stitches that are under the beard here that are less visible than when I was a kid. I had stitches that it took 3 adults to hold me down.
Did your teeth go through it?
I don't know. I don't remember. Luckily, I don't have memories of that event, so it was sure as crazy it was. But apparently, I was screaming my head off as a toddler in pain would do. But yeah, it took 3 adults to hold me down for them to actually put stitches into my chin to fix it. So I was a very rabble-rousing kid. So
what about like a teenager? Did you have any crazy stories as a kid? No, you were good. You're a good kid.
I was
or nothing
fairly
you don't,
a good kid. Yeah.
Nothing you want to witness to yourself right now, or that your mom knows about past problems.
No. I mean, I grew up with an older brother who's like a wrestling state champion, so he would use me as like the practice dummy every once in a while. And there were days we'd watch WWE and he would do WWE moves on me, and I would be able to reverse a few, before he was able to choke slam me onto a bed. But I think he tried to go for a last ride, not a lot. I think it was a last ride. Yeah, he got me up and I slipped over his head, and he was like, "How did you do that?" I don't know. Luckily, we didn't break a whole lot of furniture as kids, so my parents were probably grateful for that.
I had 2 older brothers. I get it.
Yeah,
They're pretty-
being the youngest of 3 is really something. So,
I get it.
Cool. Oh yeah.
So
Do you have a question? Do you have a question for the next guest?
It can be literally about anything.
Anything.
yeah, okay. If you had to be stuck on an island with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Got it.
And
Good one.
and what board game would you play with them on that island?
Got it.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine being that stressed out? I would never play a board game with anybody. Be like, no, I don't want to play Monopoly with you.
I want to play Connect Four with Abraham Lincoln. just see where his strategy goes. Like if that man can lead a civil war, I want to see what he can do within the space of a 4x5 board.
My best friend has one of those, like, you know, they're like fancy looking. You can buy them at like Target or TJ Maxx or something, and they're like all wood and like pretty metal and stuff. He's got a Connect 4 game that's like that, and we got stoned one night and we're playing that. And we had made up all our own rules. I swear we played that game for like 5 hours, just making up our own rules to the whole thing.
I love that. Sometimes you got to make up your own rules to make it fun, you know.
I mean, after a while, it's like you get bored of everything. So, so what will you be doing next? Are you, what's going on now that?
So a lot of it, I've been trying to take a lot of time for myself over the past, what has it been, 2 weeks now? Or has it been 2 weeks? What, like a week and a half or 2 weeks now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So like once I heard about him actually making the plans to announce for U.S. Senate, I was starting to like, you know, be like, okay, shit, I have to figure something out here. And you know, a lot of it right now has just kind of been focusing on myself to make sure that I'm okay, so that I know where I need to slot in as we continue on for the 2026 cycle. I hear there's an opening for a talking head for a podcast. That's a Charlie Kirk joke, by the way. That's gonna get me on a list somewhere. God damn it.
We're all on it, man. Everyone's on it.
Don't worry, you get canceled.
you can't cancel somebody that doesn't have a platform, so we're good. No, like right now, a lot of my plans is just see and watch where I need to be of assistance, even if it has to be of a follower or just, you know, do the grunt work. I don't have a whole lot of options in the way of elected representation like I would want to have, but right now it's just a matter of being able to get the word out, make sure that people understand. Because honestly, it might be that I take up a plan to create an organization that deals with civic education, to be able to go out and talk to people about, you know, why voting's so important, about why this process is so important, why our constitutional republic matters, why representative democracy matters, what's the difference. Because we're losing a lot of that education, I think, in society. And I don't see any answer to Prager U. I don't see any answer to Turning Point USA. That, you know, we have to figure something out, because if we're just going to let Republicans and the right wing control the narrative, we're going to lose this race real quick. So
yeah, that's kind of how we got started. You know, we just got tired of just the same. It's all corporate bullshit now. That's all it is. That's all it is now.
It's corporate extremism.
Yes, that's all it is.
Not even politics at this point anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just corporate extremism. It's like the very worst part of every commercial.
Yeah. Just having commercials in general, yeah.
And you can't swipe.
And right.
No skipping, no swiping.
The 3 minutes of ads on YouTube that you can't do either of those things.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Torture.
Yeah, I mean that we've been trying to do that, trying to educate people by TikTok or Instagram or social media. I think that's the future, really. Honestly, how people are just gonna get all their information are just these short clips, that and AI. Because man, you can get so much information off of it. I mean, depending on your algorithm, you can get so much information from just regular people doing regular investigating, asking questions, just asking questions.
Yeah, because like I've been told and I found out that nothing really beats actually talking to people face to face.
Yeah.
So social media is great for that, for a lot of that, but when
Mhm.
you have the algorithm to compete against, it really doesn't spread as far as you
Mhm.
need it to. So that's why I kind of want to look into doing that kind of work to get out and actually
Yeah, for sure.
have events in person, to be able to get people out, to rally them, to say this is the work that we have to be doing that's missing, that they're trying to stop us from doing. So
Well, Mike Swanson, I really appreciate you coming on the show again. Just even putting your hat in that race, man, that took a lot of freaking guts, dude. And you should be proud of yourself for sure.
I appreciate that.
Keep in contact with us if you ever want to come back on the show, even if you want to do something for San Antonio or Bear County, man. I'll be down to do something with that, something for that with you, man. If you're interested, but
Yeah, definitely, we can make that happen.
all right,
Yeah,
Cassidy, got anything?
appreciate it. No, we appreciate you.
Okay.
We could always
Appreciate
use
y'all.
extra help on the show, so if you want, you're more than welcome to.
Be a celebrity guest every once in a while, definitely.
Yeah, or a regular.
Yeah. If
Regular
something comes
too.
up that you want my input on, I'd be happy to look into it, sir.
Cool,
For
sweet.
sure.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll see y'all next week. Later.